Hi there everyone, happy Wednesday and welcome to another episode of GrowShow. I hope this week is treating you well. No matter where you are inside the world, this is going to be a slightly shorter episode because we've got a really busy week this week delivering virtual events for our clients, but I want to thank you for continuing to tune in. Hard to believe it's episode 13. How on earth did this happen? We started this 3-4 months ago and never dreamed that we would get so much engagement. So it is so lovely to have you regularly coming back to GrowShow to learn things that you can really apply and employ to help your business. Remember to keep the comments coming throughout the show. It is all about your feedback, and as you know, in every single episode, we will choose a random comment to give away some free GrowShow swag. Look at this lovely stuff. You'll be able to get some of them to give away. Maybe a nice old-fashioned mug, if that is your thing. I happen to be the coffee man here, so I like the wee insulated yolks. But yeah, let me know where you are tuning in from. And if for any reason you haven't seen any of the episodes of GrowShow before, where have you been? We've got over 20,000 viewers now across YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitch, Periscope. We're basically everywhere at this point. So if you have missed any of the recordings, type the word recordings below and we will send you a link to the episodes on the real science of persuasion, how to massively increase your effectiveness as a leader. Loads of good stuff for you to be able to take away. Without further ado, let's get started on the science of advertising. Welcome to GrowShow. GrowShow is the only live streaming show on the internet that gives you proven, actionable tools and techniques to help you grow your business, grow your team, and grow yourself. Hello, my name is David Meade. I work with organizations all across the world on the real science of high performance. And in this short episode, we're going to look at the real psychology of advertising. How do we make our message cut through? How do we make our product benefits and features land strongly so that we increase our likelihood of getting a sale across the line? But before we do that, I need to ask you, in the comments, let me know, how many adverts do you think you're exposed to every day? It's important that we take a moment to consider this fact. Do you think, is it 5 adverts per day? Do you think maybe it's 50 adverts per day? Maybe you think it's 200. And I'd like you to consider all of the places where you bump into adverts and commercials because it really does matter. What do you think? What is the number? Let me know inside the comments. And before I look at your answers, let's take a moment to get some of our audience. Aaron is saying hello. Hi, Aaron. Thank you so much. Folks, if you're interested in setting up a studio like this, my friend Aaron Abernethy is the guy who's very much helped make GrowShow look as good as it has. Who have we got? Joanne Doherty is coming in from Derry Peacemakers. Very clever name. I'm very impressed. Damien is back to see us. Damien, it is so good to have you. Hello, Jane. Thank you so much for coming in and joining us from Young Enterprise. It is great to have you. Daryl's treating himself to a coffee. Darren, if for any reason you feel like it's operating slowly, then feel free to take it intravenously. That seems to work best for me. Who else have we got? Let me see. And we've got lovely Frank. Great to see you, Frank. A big hello to you in the United States. It's lovely to have you. And who else have we got? Okay, so let's look at some of our answers. Remember, the question that I was asking was, how many adverts are you exposed to every day? Now, Jane Hannah is saying that she believes maybe it's around 500. Lovely Sam, long time no see. Sam is saying that she thinks it might be 200. Crystal is saying maybe 200 to 500 ads per day. Michael Burke is saying that it's around about 80. And who else have we got? Damien is saying around 100. Well, look, the answer might surprise you. It is, in fact, 5,000 adverts per day. Because if you consider it, if you listen to commercial radio, they play out anywhere up to 100 per hour. If you are on social media, every time you scroll, you're bombarded again and again and again. And almost every email that you receive every day has an advert in it of some sort. Now, when we consider this 5,000, the question for us as sales professionals, if you're trying to sell anything, is how do we cut through that noise? How do we make sure that individuals really do hear what we want them to hear, engage with the message in the way that we would like to? Well, I can answer this with a really simple question. I want you to look at these two adverts for fundamentally the same product. Which one are you more drawn to? Are you drawn to the one on the left or on the right? Are you drawn to the one that has the product on the left or the product on the right? The reason this really matters is you might have heard that human individuals are divided into two groups, and they are either left brain or right brain. You may have heard that people who are left brain are the logical ones, the ones who love numbers, reasons, and facts. They're the ones who like to schedule fun on a Saturday between 3 and 3:11. They're the detail-orientated ones that make sure they cross every T and dot every I. The right brain people, however, you might have heard, are creative. They're more colorful. They're more vivid dreamers. They're more musical. They're natural designers. They're the ones who can bring even boring subjects alive. Well, look, if you have heard this, then I need to let you know it's important that I'm honest with you that these notions have been hugely debunked for many decades now. Actually, there is no such thing as a left brain thinker or a right brain thinker. This is simply a useful shorthand to define someone's personality, so it's not entirely without use. But the notion of being a left brain or a right brain thinker simply doesn't exist. However, what we do know is that the brain has a certain processing fluency on either the left-hand side or the right-hand side of the brain. And once you know how that processing fluency works, well, then you can take that human brain and present information to it correctly to increase your likelihood of getting a yes or a no. Whether you're trying to persuade, whether you're trying to lead a colleague. By the way, isn't this cool? How cool is this that I could do? That's right. We've got a new camera on GrowShow, everybody. So once you know the difference between the left and the right brain, you can use it to get significantly better results. So I need to bring this alive for you with using a little story. Imagine that you are out for a walk, and when you're on that walk, you bring your brain with you because it's easier than leaving it in a lunchbox in the kitchen, and you see two objects in front of you. One is a tree and one is a cat. You see the tree on the left-hand side and you see the cat on the right-hand side. Well, we know that the brain processes information and stimuli on the opposite side that it perceives it. So we know that if you see a tree on your left-hand side, it's processed on the right. If you see a cat on the right-hand side, it is processed on the left. Now, what we also know is that the brain has a predisposition for processing facts and data, images and information in a slightly different way. So Bourne knows, and let me give you the real science, stimulus presented on the left visual field is initially received and processed by the right and vice versa. But here's what we know about the way the brain processes information, because this is really important. We know that in all printed or visual or video commercials or adverts of any kind, best practice is to have the image on the left-hand side and the text or the data, the features, benefits, and functions on the right-hand side, because the right-hand side of the brain is significantly more suited to processing images. So if you place the image on the left-hand side, it's processed by the right. However, if you because we know that the left-hand side of the brain is more suited to processing data, facts, and information, then it's more important that that goes on the right-hand side. If you pay attention to this convention in your communications and in your advertisements, it allows the human brain to process that commercial more quickly. It means that the humans that you're communicating with, in other words, your potential customers, are more likely to be drawn in by the messaging that you give them. We believe that this could potentially make those ads seen as more commercially favorable and perhaps even more memorable. And if you look, there is so much evidence of this commercially. The biggest organizations in the world pay attention to these rules, and they make sure that their ads are designed to exploit this. And there are so many examples. It doesn't matter what the industry is. It doesn't matter what the sector. We know by placing the images on the left and the facts on the right, it's going to be much easier for your brain to process and much more likely that you will get that sale across the line. So that is takeaway number one. But takeaway number two, a big question: when might it be a good idea to be bad? When might it be a good idea to talk about the things in your adverts that you, your company, and your commercial do not do well? Well, in order to tell you why this is important, I need to explain an experiment that has been repeated many times, but perhaps most impactfully and most memorably recently by a guy called Richard Shotton. Ferrier also carried out a version of this that was unpublished. But they took these two simple images and asked, Which cookie do you prefer? The one on the left or the one on the right? Let me know inside the comments. I'd like to hear from you. Which one jumps out at you? Which one are you drawn to? Is the one on the left more tasty? Is the one on the right more attractive? If you could let me know inside the comments, we will take a moment to get some of your feedback and take it from there. So let's go over to the comments now and see. We've got Drone Masterclasses in to say hello. Thank you for joining us. Joanne is saying some great advice. Thank you for joining us, Joanne. Daryl is saying that the cookies look identical. Crystal is saying left. Claire Alexandra is more drawn to the one on the left as well. Sam Shepherd is drawn to the one on the left. Looking through the comments, it does seem like overwhelmingly most people are going to the left one. Caroline is saying left as well. We do have one right there with Damien, but overwhelmingly it does seem like everyone is drawn to the ones on... Oh wait, we've got another right there. Hello, Giles. Oh, Giles, long time no see. Giles and I met in a conference room that was easily 300 degrees centigrade. I remember it very well. Nice to have you. But Hazel is saying, hello Hazel, nice to see you here as well. Hazel is saying that the one on the left looks pretty good to you. Well, I think the feedback that we're getting in the comments does bear out the research, because the researchers found that 66% of people preferred the imperfect cookie. But here's the twist. If you look really carefully at these cookies, they are actually identical. It's exactly the same biscuit, exactly the same cookie. The only thing that's happened from left to right is the one on the right-hand side was slightly photoshopped to take the rough edges off. Now, the science behind this suggests that when we see imperfection, when we see things that are not entirely 100% wonderful, not immaculate, that perhaps there is authenticity in that. Perhaps there is credibility in that. And as a consequence, we are drawn to it. So there's a huge amount of research that suggests now that if you outline in a humorous way the imperfections of your products, the things that it does not do well, it will actually make customers be significantly more drawn to the brand and drawn to the offer that you have. Picnic bars did this incredibly well when they put a picture of their chocolate bar up and said that it was the reason why wrappers were invented. If you look at it, it does look genuinely ugly. And for those of you who are into adventure sports, you might recognize this advert that has done incredibly well. It's been recognized as an incredibly clever and innovative solution. This is a real review that was left by Greg of a ski slope that he said was too advanced, 1 star. Well, what the ski slope has done, what this particular resort has done, is taken that negative review and used it as a positive. They've put it front and center in billboards and in print ads. And in doing so, they've taken what is potentially a flaw, a negative perception, a negative view of their product, and use it to actually communicate who they are. For those of you who work in the hospitality business, first of all, you genuinely have my thoughts and prayers. What a difficult time this is for you. And for any of you who know me well, you'll know that my background was in hospitality for years. Then consider how you can take this effect. And it's called the pratfall effect in psychology. The pratfall effect suggests that if we share an imperfection about our product or our service, it may draw people to us. This was a brilliant example of it. And I think Avis did it phenomenally when they, for years, started to tell everyone that they were the #2 car rental service. Now, I'd like you to imagine for a moment around the boardroom, whenever the marketing firm pitched this idea, yes, our entire campaign is going to be built around this notion that we are not #1, that we are not the best. But actually, this was incredibly smart, because by suggesting that you are #2, it means that we're not lazy. We don't rest on our laurels. We fight harder to make sure that you are happy every single day. And not just in adverts, this works in job interviews as well. A huge amount of evidence has proven that job interview candidates who mention past mistakes in an honest, transparent, and authentic way during their job interviews are rated as significantly more honest and significantly more appealing. But few brands have used the pratfall effect more effectively than Marmite. So let's take a moment to bask in the glory of what was one of my favorite adverts of all time.
It's an early start for the rescue team as they visit a house in West London.
Neighbours reckon they're a little bit testy. We've had a couple of reports of neglect at this address. All we're going to do is have a little look around your cupboards.
Oh, stuck right at the back. Who knows how long that's been in here.
The team's only option is to remove the stricken jar.
Get him back, clean him up.
Soon, a more delicate case is called in.
Wonder if I could come in and have a little chat. I think you might know what it's about.
Yeah.
As the team have come to learn, offenders can be from all walks of life.
Promise you will go to a good home.
I'm sorry.
Of course.
Across town, Lucy is dealing with a very different call.
I don't know why you're here, to be honest with you.
It doesn't take long before new recruit Callum Howe finds another jar in a shocking state.
Oh no.
What's the matter?
It's a baby one.
Okay, don't panic.
It's not been used in months.
All right.
Lid's stuck.
All right, gently, gently.
Wait a second. I can change.
For those new to the job, such scenes of neglect can be
A
traumatic.
little jar.
I've not seen one that small before.
After an emotional day, the team drop off the rescued jars at the rehoming centre,
Really love this one. Okay.
where a proud family welcomes their new addition. Love it, hate it, just don't forget it.
Few brands have used this more effectively than Marmite. They know that countries, houses, societies, even relationships are divided by whether or not people like or dislike this particular product. So they've decided to take it and put it front and center in their marketing. And as a result, the impact has been huge. It's become part of that brand identity, part of the brand DNA, and they've used it phenomenally effectively. So how might you use these principles? Well, look, the first one is really obvious. If you're making a print or a visual ad of any kind, whether that is video or otherwise, then try to make sure that you put the imagery on the left-hand side, the features, functions, benefits on the right-hand side, and that will increase that processing fluency to massively improve the likelihood that that customer will engage with the information. But what about the pratfall effect? Well, let's say, for instance, you work in a window company, you're a window manufacturer and installer. You might think that, well, the pratfall effect, that's essentially saying that your product has a downside. I don't want to talk about a flaw that my product might have. There is always a way to find a creative flaw. So here's an example that I came up with as I prepped this episode. Let's say your windows come with a 25-year warranty. That suggests that they're going to be on this house for a really long time. So you might want to use the pratfall effect in the following manner. Perhaps you have a commercial that has the windows frames colored in a bright yellow color. And maybe in the ad you will say, choose your color wisely. They're going to last for 25 years. So the pratfall effect here is suggesting that these last so long, you better choose really carefully how you design and color them. A really simple example. If you are in an industry where people book your time or they book slots, if you are in the professional advice industry of any kind, if you're in the professions, or let's say you're in the restaurant or hotel industry, then try to make sure that it's clear that it's incredibly difficult to get a booking because you're so busy. That's number one, using a scarcity principle, which we've looked at in previous episodes. But by suggesting that it is difficult for people to secure a reservation, challenging because you're so popular, it will increase their likelihood of wanting to secure it. If you want to know more about behavioral science and the psychology of it and its application in advertising, I really recommend you check out this book by Richard Shotton. It is excellent, outstanding. I can't recommend it enough. And I'm certain in future episodes we'll be drawing on some of the advice and insight in it. So look, folks, thank you so much for tuning in to this slightly shorter episode of GrowShow. We're shortly going to be picking a winner for our GrowShow swag, so make sure that you have got a comment of some sort. And I want to remind you, GrowShow can only grow if you actually tag your friends or colleagues in. So please, pretty please do me a favor. I'd like you to share this episode to your feed so your colleagues can learn from it. Put a comment, let them know why they should tune in every week at Wednesday, 3 p.m. UK, 10 a.m. Eastern in the US. But maybe even consider copying and pasting a link and sending it around to your colleagues in the office. We have whole teams that are watching the show together as they work remotely from home. To make sure you don't miss an episode, click follow on LinkedIn, subscribe on YouTube, ringing the bell if you'd like to get a notification, and click like on Facebook. Now, I'll be picking my winner in just a second, but as a reminder, if you're hosting a virtual event for your team to train or entertain them, then drop me a line. Since lockdown, my team and I have delivered really fun, interactive training experiences for all of these great brands on the real science of high performance. It has brought teams together, it has built their teams, and more importantly, it has grown their business as well. And here's some of the recent feedback we've received. Hi everyone, my name is David Meade. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us during this live and interactive masterclass.
The feedback that we had is the best that I've seen for any webinar. It was the biggest audience we've ever had by far.
I haven't been to, a virtual event like it. I certainly haven't laughed as much in any virtual event.
As human beings, we live up to and down to our own expectations of our own performance. Convince yourself that you can, will, might, must, or should, and it comes out in everything that you do.
His enthusiasm, his style, it immediately engages the audience.
And I think what David really offers is he genuinely cares.
And I guarantee you will leave this session with practical and actionable tools and techniques that you'll be able to apply and employ straight away.
Engaging.
Interactive.
Full of energy.
Remember, GrowShow is live every Wednesday at 3 p.m. in the UK or 10 a.m. Eastern if you're watching in the US. Every single episode, we bring you the real science of how to grow your business, grow your team, or grow yourself. Sometimes we look at persuasion, leadership, but it is interactive, and I love to get your comments. So let's choose one of your comments at random now. I'm going to look away. I'm going to scroll up, down, up, down, up, down. And this is the random comment. Alistair Bell, King of Black Butter. Alistair, we are going to send you some GrowShow swag. So if you could drop me a little LinkedIn message, Alistair, with your address, I will send you some. And by the way, if you haven't tasted Alistair's black butter, he sent me a jar one time. I haven't tried heroin before, but it can't possibly be nicer than this stuff. It's absolutely gorgeous. So, Alistair, great to hear from you. Let's go to a couple of little comments that we have. Sam is saying the best virtual events. You're doing a great job. Feel like you're in the room with me. Thank you, Sam. And we have been in the room many times together at this point, so it is lovely of you to say that. Joanna's saying, sorry that you missed the other episodes. Don't worry, Joanne. If you type the word recordings in the comments, as soon as this episode is finished, I will go and give you a little link to where you can watch them all. And folks, if you log on to www.growshow.com, enter in your details there, and we will send you absolutely all of the episodes. So there we have it, folks. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Thank you so much for supporting GrowShow. Please do tell your friends or colleagues. We would love it if you would help us grow GrowShow. We've now got over 20,000 viewers, and it's all because of your kindness and your generosity. And I will see you back here next Wednesday for another episode of GrowShow.